good morning. How is everyone? Make sure my volume is up, and I am here with you all. I am so happy to be here as always. Today, I'm going to basically share with you my reflection of my school year. My school year is over, it's done. Our last day for the students was on Thursday, and Friday was the last day that the teachers are in the building. And I was there. I mean, most teachers was out by 12, but I had a lot of things to do last minute, like compliance, retention letters, and things of that nature. So I was there to the last minute. But I am happy to be done. I'm tired, and I am just ready to celebrate the summer. One of the things that I do every single year is reflect. One thing at the beginning when I first started teaching, I'll never forget Miss Sullivan. Shout out to her. Hey, she always taught me to reflect. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So drop in the comments and box what your reaction is and how you're feeling about your last day of school. I know for a lot of people, they may have a few more weeks left, and some, like myself, are out of school. So I would love to know how you all are feeling at this point. So once again, if this is your first time joining us, my name is Millie. I am a lead ESL teacher at a middle school. We have a huge population of students. We have a team of 6. So that just goes to tell you some schools, some teachers float between 2 schools, but you know our population is huge. We have 6 ESL teachers at our school. I'm also, for the upcoming school year, I'm going to be doing curriculum writing for newcomers. So that is one of my projects for the upcoming school years, curriculum writing for newcomers, and I will be a lead ESL teacher. This past year, I had the honor of doing peer coaching. So that looked like I would go out. We have a huge school district here in Memphis. I would go out. I would go and support other ESL teachers in newcomer strategies and long-term ELL strategies. And so it was such a wonderful experience doing that as well. So if you're just joining us, once again, I am going to just share my reflections for the school year. It has been with anything, it's been a lot of highs and it's been a lot of lows. So if you haven't already, go to my adventures at ESL.com/reflection. It's the number 1. I'm going to have a 2-part reflection. The first part reflection is just me doing a brain dump after the end of the school year. We get our WIDA scores next week, and so I'm going to do a part 2 reflection after we get our WIDA scores, and I see the data to back up to see if the things that I did well and the things that I may need to improve on based on the data. So this is just part 1 after my first week of first day after the students were let out of school. So I want you all to know there's such power in reflection, not just for you as a teacher, but for your students. And so if you haven't already, really be thinking about what went well this school year, what are some things that you can improve on this school year, and even for your students, like throughout the school year, we had reflection constantly. And so I really want to encourage you for you to reflect and for your students reflect, because it just really makes your teaching practice stronger and you grow as a teacher. It's one of the only ways I feel like you're going to grow is that if you reflect back and say, that didn't work, or you know what, I need to go back and make changes on this, or I need to adjust this. So let me go ahead and dive in with my reflection, me pouring my heart out to you all for this school year. So the first thing that I think that really went well for me this school year was how the students entered the room. Hold on one second, y'all. I want to make sure I'm not disconnected in any way, so let me plug in this. Okay, so one of the things that went really well was how the students entered the classroom. The previous year, let me go back. My first year that I was teaching, I had the students enter the classroom just any old kind of way. And the students were coming in. Since I had newcomers at that time, a lot of them were asking me, "Oh, Miss Williams, like, what do I do? What do I pick up? What do I, what do I do next?" And it was driving me crazy because, like I said, I'm a big proponent of I want my students not to be dependent on me. I want them to be able to come into the room, pick up their materials, and do everything that they need to do without asking me every single day. So I realized after my first year of teaching that I need to set up a plan, like a plan for them coming into the room. I need a plan for them picking up their materials. I need a plan for them starting their morning work, which I'm going to talk about later. So I know I needed a plan. And side note, I want to encourage every new teacher that's watching this, every returning teacher that's watching this, to over the summer develop a plan for your students. If you don't have one, develop one. In the upcoming course that I'm going to be teaching online, I am going to walk you through, or walk ESL teachers through, step by step of creating a plan for your class, because without one, it can fall to pieces really easily. So I knew that this year I needed a plan for my students to come into the room, and I felt like this was my best year ever. One of the things that I did for the students that came into the room is, and I can probably flip to this right quickly and show you all, I have a Padlet, and on Padlet, what I did was I had the students clock in, and they're coming in the room. So for one, I did this because it creates responsibility. I tell them, just like Miss Williams has a job and my principal expects me to come in every single day, clock in, be on time, be at my door, have my materials ready, I want the same thing for you. My expectation is when you come in the room to clock in, and I'll show you, I'll pull it up right quickly. Clock in. I want you to grab your materials. I had a materials board for them. And after they grab their materials, sit down and do the bell work. Now, at the beginning of the year, it takes some practice for them to do this. But after maybe like a week or two, it was like that. I mean, there were some days, I'm not going to lie, I slip up. I was so busy talking to them. They could be a coworker. And they'll be like, "Miss Williams, you don't have the system set up for us to clock in every day." Attached to the system was a reward system as well. So that was one of the things that I loved about the new year and that I'm going to strengthen for next year. One of the things that I do think, reflecting back on it, that I'm going to be a lot more consistent about is making sure that it's pulled up every single day. It was on a computer, and this year I wasn't expecting that the computers are tied to everybody's username. So a lot of times that I had to run over, put my information in and all of that, and it was a little rocky in the beginning. So I'm thinking that maybe not do it online. I like the convenience of doing it online. Or if I do it online, just have the students just, on a computer or a tablet where they don't have to constantly kind of clock in and log in every single day. So I just want to make it smoother and transition into it. And I think I can pull it up for you all. Just give me one moment. I am going to Padlet, Miss Williams, my dashboard. And I can show you all right quickly how it looked like. I had a Google Doc, and in the Google Doc, I had the students pretty much just click their name. I had it separated by the class period as well. So it was really helpful. Another thing that I really liked about it was that when the students logged in, well, like during parent-teacher conferences, side note, in middle school and high school teachers know this as well, they want to kind of take their time, get in the class. And I would tell them, I was like, during parent-teacher conferences, I'm going to pull up your time sheet and I'm going to tell your parents and show your parents when you have been clocking in. So here, let me see if I can pull this up for you all. That way, pound 7. Let's see. Web share. Oh, here you go, pound 5. There we go. So thank you all for being patient. So you can see here, Padlet Side Note is a great resource as well. But you can see here, like, they clock in. I'm going to do my fourth period because they were always late. So shout out to fourth period. So at fourth period, they clock in. You see their names here. I'm just going to use Dahlia's name. She just clicks submit here. Boom. That was it. And then on my end, which I don't know if I'm able to show it right now, but like on my end, then I can then see like the time they clocked in and their name. So it's a really, really powerful resource. It worked really well with my students, and I am definitely using a time clock for next year as well. So if you haven't already, a great tool. Once again, in my upcoming course, I'm going to teach teachers and all about this great classroom strategy of having the students be more responsible, clocking in, those sort of things. So the next thing, this is a low for me. I was going to share my highs and my lows. And once again, if you're just joining me, I am going through my reflections for the school year. You can read all about it at myadventures.com/reflection1, the number one at ESL.com, and myadventures.esl.com. So my low for the school year, I'm sorry, was attendance. I'm one of those teachers, right? So I'll really excited about the lesson, and I'll get into the lesson, and I would absolutely forget to take attendance. So I realized this year, before previously, I mean, I've always had this problem, and before I never really took it seriously. And I said this year, this is a profession. I need to be professional. I'm honestly being a hypocrite. I'm asking the students to come in. I'm asking the students to clock in every day, do their job, but unfortunately, I'm forgetting an important part of my job. Our secretary, she needs me to do this. This is my responsibility. I need to take attendance every day. So I realized that, and I was like, you know what? Millicent, I really, really need to be more responsible in doing this. So after being fussed at a couple of times, it took a couple of times of being fussed at, I finally decided, okay, you need to be serious. Like, how can you incorporate the students clocking in every day and you taking attendance? One of the struggles I realized immediately, and this may seem small, was that when the students come in I already like to have my materials and everything up on the board so they can see. Now, some teachers have the luxury at my school to have what they call what is it? They can hold or freeze the screen. But unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of like freezing the screen and then running over and taking attendance. So as the students are coming in, I have to have the materials up on the board. So, and I can't take it down because I'm taking it down and like, I can't see the screen, I can't do this, or I can't do that. And honestly, the whole attendance part of it was just driving me crazy. I mean, it was a really, really, really low point. So I finally realized, okay, this upcoming school year, I brainstormed. I'm like, okay, what can I do to make me taking attendance and holding me accountable? One of the things that I realized this year is that I need to keep it really, really simple, not go over the top, just keep it simple. So I was like, okay, this upcoming school year, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to create a timer on my phone for 5 minutes after each class to take attendance. Just something simple, like, you know what, remember to take attendance. I'm going to have to probably download an app. I think they have a Power School. We use Power School in our district. So I'm going to use a Power School app to see if I can take attendance. But I'm realizing how important it is. If a student leaves the school and I mark that they're here and they're not really here and they do it during my class time, then I'm the one that's held responsible for that. So I really, really, really need to make sure that I am doing that. And I want you all to hold me accountable, check in on me, be like, Millie, did you take attendance today at school? Hold me accountable. But that is definitely a low, one of the biggest changes that I'm going to make. I also thought about with attendance, maybe having a student do it, but I have to check on the logistics of that. Is that something legal? I don't know. Maybe making it a classroom job. But what I usually do is I'll just have the students clock in. At the end of the day, I would just fill in the attendance. And then they were like, no, you can't do that. You have to do it on the spot. So my main idea, the simple thing, is just to simply set a timer after each class period. Then that way I can do it. So I'm going to see how that works, and I'll let you all know. My third, going back up to a high. And high this year is student data. I had a student data binder, and it was so powerful and showing how the students did. So every day I will post the objective, and then the students will rate themselves using an emoji chart. And with the emoji chart, then they would rate themselves 1, 2, 3, or 4 based on the objective. And when I say it was a powerful tool to use in my classroom, it was simply powerful. So I'm definitely going to have a student data binder next year. Now, I'm reflecting, I'm being a reflective teacher, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I make that better? Because if I'm being honest, I did really good with it the first quarter, like the first semester. And I thought about it, I was like, well, Melissa, why did you do so good with it? And I'm like, oh, I had everything planned out. But for the second semester, once again, I did not have everything planned out for the second semester. So over the summer, I'm going to do their student data binder for the whole school year, not just for the semester. So remember, having a plan is important if you don't have one. So I'm going to do a student data binder the whole school year. That is my biggest takeaway, is to be prepared, have that student data binder, have it to where they can rate themselves from 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm probably going to streamline it a little more and make it easier for them to use. Also, one of the things that I'm going to include in the student data binder is a reflection letter. So every day that they're reflecting on their practice. Not saying they have to write a full letter, but I'm thinking about like the 4 domains of language: reading, writing, listening, speaking. So every day I'm going to try to incorporate that in their reflection in some type of way to strengthen their academic language, to strengthen their writing, to strengthen their speaking in some form of another. So if you don't have a student data binder where the students can track their growth and their progress, get one, make one, however you want to do it. But it was such a powerful tool. And for me as a teacher, it really showed me where the student's mind was, where their mindset was, and it really allowed me as a teacher to build relationships, to encourage the students to say, hey Sherzad, I see that you rated yourself a 1 here, but I noticed that you are doing really well with X, Y, and Z. Really consider how you reflecting, and tomorrow really give thought about that and see if you can change that, if that can go up, or is it about the same. So it's a great way to build relationships with students, to encourage them, and to set a positive environment. So just to recap, I'm going to go over one thing that I went well this year is how the students entered the classroom. The low was my attendance, me taking attendance. I've got to do better. Thing that went well was the power of student data and tracking the student data. I'm going to flip side of that is that one thing, I'm just throwing this in here, it's not planned. I'm just thinking about this in a moment, is I as a teacher am going to do a lot better in how I track my students' data. It's required of us, but I'm going to start to be very, very, very intentional in how I'm tracking my students' data for next year, especially after I get their WIDA scores this week. I mean, I'm going to sit down and dive into it and really be thinking about what can I do better as a teacher. Okay, another high is flexible seating. I have flexible seating in my classroom, and if you don't know what flexible seating is, it is a non-traditional classroom. I don't have any desk in my classroom. I just have like couches and tables and all of this cool stuff. I'll see if maybe I can find a picture right quickly But all of these great things in my classroom that were donated to me through Donors Choose, which is a great way to get things for your classroom. So, flexible seating, it went wonderfully this year. One of the things that went well about it was that a lot of the students, I didn't have to worry about them being like arguing over a seat. Now, last year I had that problem. Now, I don't know if it was the grade level that I had last year. I had a lot of sixth graders last year, and this year I had eighth grade. So I don't know if it was the grade level of the students, but it went wonderfully with them not arguing over the seats. Now, once again, I'm reflecting. Was one thing that I could have done better this year with that? And one thing that I think that I could have done better with is that setting the expectations for the seats. So one of the things that I noticed that the students were doing when they come in the room, we will always have the same students in the same seat. And that can kind of lead, in middle school, it can be like a very subtle way of them being territorial. So next year, one of the things that I'm going to do is when the students are coming into room, I'm going to say, hey, pick anywhere you want to sit, but it cannot be the same place that you sat yesterday. I mean, I literally had a student who sat in the same exact seat the whole school year. So I really want them to see that, you know what? Try something new. Try a different seat. Try the wobble stools. Try the couch. Try the gaming chairs. Try sitting in the library. Try standing up. I want them to be able to try some different things, and that way they'll have a few different options for their seats. I'm also just a great teacher at our school who is going off to law school. Shout out to him. But he made standing desk for his room, or a long standing table. He gave it to me and the art teacher, Miss Miller. Hey, Miss Miller. And so what we're going to do is, in next year, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use magnetic and whiteboard paint on the desk. And that way the students can doodle. That was the one thing I know is I had a white table, and I'm not saying names, but I don't know who quite drew on my white table, but the kids were doodling on the table. It drove me crazy. Me and another teacher there, Miss Finney. Hey, Miss Finney. We were just talking one day. We were like, it's driving us crazy that the students are writing on the table. So what we're going to do is we are going to, next year, I'm going to have like a table, make it a whiteboard table. That way they can take a whiteboard marker, they can doodle on it, as long as it's appropriate, it's fine. So flexible seating, it worked well this year. I'm going to add a little bit more to the expectations. I'm also going to make sure I'm very intentional about encouraging them to sit and try different seats next year. And a low, right? So here's another low. One thing that I can change is bell work. I have always, and I don't know what happened to me this year, and I think I know why. If I'm thinking about it right now out loud, is that this is my first year with a new curriculum. Like I told you all before, we do, it was previously called Engage New York, but now it's called EL curriculum. We use that curriculum with our long-term ELLs. So it's the same curriculum that they're using in the mainstream classes. So this is my first year doing the curriculum, and it really kind of sort of threw me off my game with my bell work. So I realized that every morning I was kind of scrambling, trying to do, and I hate that feeling of scrambling. It's so not like me, but I felt like I was scrambling every single morning to get something up on the board for the students to do. And so one of the things that I thought about, I was like, you know what? I don't want to have that feeling next year. I want my students to come in. I want them to be prepared for the day. I want to be prepared for the day. I don't like that feeling. So one of the things that I'm going to change about next year is I'm going to, over the summer, I am going to completely plan out all of my bell work for the school year. once again, I'm coming up with a plan. I know I need a plan. I am coming up with a plan. I am going to have a plan. And once again, if you haven't already, really consider joining me and my course as I talk about how you need a plan as a teacher, and we can go through this together and we can create a plan. So I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to have, I know what curriculum I'm teaching next year already, so there's no kind of, one of the first books that we're going to do a novel study on is a book called A Long Walk to Water. So I'm going to, and not on the board, because tying back into what I said earlier, I'm going to create a morning work binder for them that they can just pick up every morning, go ahead and start on the work, and that way that frees up the whiteboard for me to take attendance. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start creating that over the summer and probably make it available to other people who want the book or the morning work as well. So, or the bell work. I know people call it do now, bell work, morning work, whatever, But I'm definitely creating one. It was a struggle this year because the students would come in, like I said, and I wouldn't have it on the board. I was trying to throw something together. It was just a feeling of really being rushed that I don't like. And it was a learning experience for me. So next year, I will definitely not be doing that again. I will have that all planned out. And for a high, my last high, and this is one off the cuff that I'm thinking of, is that I'm really proud of my students, genuinely proud of them. I really am proud of how me as a teacher, I always encourage them to be positive. I mean, it was so funny at the end, they were like mocking me, positive, but I really encourage them to like always come in. Don't be negative. Don't say things, don't make homophobic comments about people. Don't bully people. Don't be mindful about what you say. Stop. We down here in the South, we call it checking. So stop checking people, like be positive, really exude that. And this year I noticed at the beginning of the year when they were getting to know me, it was like, but now as the year progressed, I really started to see a change in their mindset. And I am really proud of myself. I gotta toot my own heart on that I really stuck with it and was consistent about being positive. And there were some days that I came in and I'm like, but I was like, I know for my students, I have to be positive. I'm not positive, they feed off of it. And I'm telling you, students and kids are very intuitive. Like, they can pick up on your mood just like that. And they knew when I was not in a good mood. And they'll be like, okay, I'm going to leave her alone today, But there were some rocky days, but I'm really, really proud of them for their mindset, having a positive mindset. I believe in my heart, soul, and spirit that they knocked all of their assessments out of the park. I know that they're going to do wonderful things, and this has overall been an amazing school year for me. And I cannot wait to just implement all of the changes next year for my next group of favorite students and get them in there. And so I am really excited about it. And honestly, I want you all to really reflect out there, really think about your school year and just write down. It was the best advice that I got. Her name is Miss Sullivan, my first year mentor coach. Shout out to her. And she said, Millicent, I want you to write down, really reflect. She was like, what can you change? What can you do better? I mean, really do this. And she encouraged me constantly to reflect. And so I'm passing that energy off on you. If you're looking at this, write down, what can you do better for the school year? Even if this is your first year teaching and you're coming up and you're like, I've never taught before. You've been to school for teaching, so really you took the praxis, or whatever teaching assessment that you need to take, and really reflect, what am I looking forward to this school year? What are some things over when I was learning about how to teach ESL students that I would do differently? So consistently reflect on your year. So I want to say this upcoming, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have a class on my top secret, right? 3 secrets that I have for planning for my ELLs. This is part of my reflection this year, and these are things that I did this school year that worked, that really transformed my teaching, and I want to share my 3 secrets with you. So on June the 15th and June the 17th, I want you to join me as I share my 3 secrets for planning for English language learners. Join me. Also, if you have not already, down here at the bottom, myadventuresinESL.com/reflection, the number 1, run, go. There's a freebie there just for you where you can have your students use a reflection guide. Read, I share pour my heart out about what I would like to change, what I would do differently, and I put a freebie in there for you. So go to myadventuresinESL.com/reflection. Also, if you haven't already, follow me on Facebook, hit like. I'm here every Sunday, 10:30, and mark your calendar for June the 15th if you have not already. So I want to thank you all for joining me. You've been wonderful. Put your reflections in the comments. I would love to see them and respond back. And once again, thank you so much for joining me. You all have a beautiful Sunday and happy Memorial Day. Bye.